Friday. Man, the weather turned a little chillier today.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it.
I did too.
It's been muggy and warm, so it felt nice to step outside today and be like, "Ooh, what's that little cool snap?"
I know. I feel like I haven't worn my winter wardrobe
Me either.
in a while. Like it's been a little bit warm.
Yeah.
So what's going on in your world this week?
Oh gosh, lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great. Got a thumbs up on our sound. Sounds
All
great.
right.
So we should be rocking and rolling. Lots of changes happening in my world this week. I am moving, looking for a new place.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Big change. And I've been where I've been living for about 7 years. So it's a bittersweet transition, I would say.
You have such a cute little roommate.
I know. I'm going to miss them
shout
so
out,
much.
Tristan.
Yes.
Tristan, if you're watching, shout out to you,
Tristan
little guy.
And B-Mom. He says, B-Mom,
B-Mom.
B-Mom. Yeah. B, she's, I just love them. So
yeah,
I'm sad to not have them every day. There's just when you live with somebody, they're there.
I know.
So it'll be,
it's your
I'm sad about
family.
that. It is. It is my family for sure.
Yeah.
And, but excited about something new and different and fun. So, but lots of change.
lots of change.
Yeah. What's going on in your world?
Let's see what is going on in my world. I talked to my youngest last night. I guess that's the thing.
Aww.
He's out there in the world making his way.
Yeah.
And so it was really good to hear his voice. Yesterday I talked to him, but I didn't talk to my eldest. I miss him and his wife.
Yeah.
My guys and
my
girl, my daughter.
You got
my bonus daughter.
You got great people.
I do.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
Very, very blessed.
Aw.
Yeah,
that's great.
Isabella. I don't know if we talked about this on the live, but she was spayed a couple weeks ago, and my calm little dog. Woo! She is so funny. She did great through the surgery. I should have known when we came back. I brought her back to the ministry after it, and she tried to jump up on the chairs. Remember?
Yes.
We were like, no, you can't do that. And by just a couple days later, she had ripped her stitches, and so her incision was opening. And then we had to hurry and take her back to the vet, and then they stapled it, and somehow and I think Rocco had something to do with it also, got out of her surgery suit. And then
Little
also,
MacGyvers.
I know, and then was ripping the staples out. And then so we took them back again. And then finally they put some surgery glue, and like her whole belly was glued up, and that stuck.
That worked.
It's in fact little pieces of it are still there.
Yeah.
But man, she's officially healed now. We took her back for her post-op, I guess it was, and they were like, "Isabella, are you back?" We're like, "It's a legit appointment this time. We're not like, because we would just have to show up at the vet and beg for their mercy to get us in." But Isabella was a regular. She had been to the vet more times that week than I think she has in her whole life.
Aw. Well, I think she's pretty worn out now.
She is. She's laying over there on the chair. I think Rocco's behind us. He's assumed his spot.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. He just goes. He doesn't really get in that chair unless we're
during the lives. He's like, I know I'm on camera.
Yeah, and she didn't let that cone stop her.
Oh my gosh!
It was like she didn't have it on. The way she kept going and moving and jumping, and
I'll tell you what. If any of your pets get spayed or they need to have those UFO little soft ring cones, it looks hilarious, kind of like a Elizabethan collar, but really, really large. And but they work.
Yeah,
it did. It kept her. She couldn't get around to lick her wound.
No, and she'd have beat the whole place up if she'd have had a plastic cone on.
She would have.
It's what? Yeah.
But
way better.
That's mine. I'm not. It's like when you have dogs, it's like having toddlers. And then Rob was out of town, so I had the whole pack.
Oh my gosh!
And so it was. It was a little crazy.
Your life was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking, and then we had that whole AT&T down. Everything.
Oh
was
my god!
Down.
I cannot imagine. I don't have that, so I was like, poor people that. I have AT&T.
On our personal phones, we have AT&T, but Rob, I use the ministry phone all the time, but Rob said it was working fine.
And where he was?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was out in Mexico City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was.
No, I walked into my first client that morning, and they were like, "Do you have AT&T?" I was like, "No." She's like, "My phone's down."
I know.
I was like, "What?" She said, "Thankfully, I have Wi-Fi and I can work from home."
Yeah,
but
as long as you had Wi-Fi, you were okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're so like, we need our phones.
Oh my gosh, it's like your life now.
Yes.
Like my appointment schedule.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what to do if my phone went down.
Oh yeah.
I would call you. What am I doing here?
How could you call me?
That's true.
You'd have to email me from your computer, maybe, if you could get it to.
I know. I usually don't take that home.
What do we do? We would have to just figure it out.
We would. Yeah. I guess people would start getting in contact with us and being like, hey. It would be crazy, because not too many years ago, man, you just didn't have that kind of access all the time. But now, literally, like our lives have transferred to on the phone. And it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing whatsoever. But it's like you said, you have all your things in one place. And that's like all your eggs in one basket.
Yep.
It's like my schedule's there, my just everything.
Yeah.
And so, when's the last time you memorized a phone number? You used to have to memorize it or write it down. Now I would just be.
Honestly, even I have like these two phones. One of them I have to, if somebody needs the number, I have to look it up. I try to remember it. I try to memorize it. But I don't call myself. And when I do, I just, if I need the number, I just can text it to you. I don't have to.
Yeah.
There's
one, this is hilarious. There's one phone number that I remember by memorization. That's just because that person has had it for that long. Rob's, like, okay, I do know Rob's. But Lauren's, I know Lauren's because she's had that same mobile number forever.
Yeah, I think I've had mine for like 20 years.
Yeah.
If I changed my number, I'd be in trouble.
I know, right?
I do remember my landline number from the house I grew up in.
You do?
228-762-0625.
And everybody just called. Do they still have that?
No.
Okay, good. Because
no, I wouldn't have said it if they did.
Call Christina. Say hi to her parents.
If they do, give them a shout. They'd love it. But they'd be like, "Nice to talk to you." My dad would.
Everybody call Christina's parents.
Last time I checked, they didn't have a landline, so I hope they don't.
We got rid of ours, but it was kind of hard to get rid of ours. Not hard like as in the logistical, but it's like, you kind of get attached.
Well, what's funny is my client, when I walked in, she goes, I just think it didn't even cross my mind. She's like, I just worry about people who have to call 911. And I was like, oh yeah. What would you do if you had an emergency?
Talk to your neighbor. I hope they don't have AT&T.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I remember when we had, like, after a really bad hurricane, when I was like, I don't know, 25. I was a little younger than that, but we had a really bad hurricane, and we didn't have the phones would work like my dad could call my aunt, who could call my brother, but my brother couldn't call my dad, and my dad couldn't call my brother. So it was
hilarious. Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. Yeah,
the phone still worked a little, but that's pretty close to.
Yeah.
And it was a while before it cleared up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's the scariest feeling, just not
can't have contact
if you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. Man,
we forget
our lives. We
how
have
easy our
so
lives.
dependent on technology. It's a wonderful thing, but it's wow.
Without it, we're in trouble.
Yeah, we kind of built our lives around technology in a large sense. Man, which segues perfectly into navigating difficult choices. Yep. That's what we're going to be talking about today, navigating difficult choices. But before we do that, we have a couple announcements. On the last Wednesday of the month, what ends up happening is we have a healing meeting right after this. So I think we'll drop a link to the Zoom, our Zoom meeting. It's on Zoom. And what we're going to do is after we talk about it here, we're going to continue the conversation in a more intimate setting. So I would encourage you just to hop on the Zoom. We're so laid back. If you want to leave your camera off and not participate, that's fine. But it's really neat because what we're talking about today, navigating difficult choices, man, a lot of times when people come here, they are in difficult times in their life. And a largest portion are, what do I do? What do I do about this? What do I do about that? What do I do about this situation? And they're really in a seeking mode. And just time and time again, I think one of the things that resonates with me is sometimes there's no right choice. There's no like ding, 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 ding. This is the right answer. There's a ton of answers with many different options, and every choice has a consequence, positive and negative, and you just gotta kind of weigh it out and roll the dice on one of them. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, continuing this conversation after the live on the Zoom. So I would encourage you to, after here, step on over, right over. This Sunday, March 3rd. God, can you believe we're already in March?
Yes.
Oh,
I can.
it's scary.
It
March 3rd, this Sunday, literally this Sunday, we're going to be having Roundtable Sunday, and it's so much fun. You come here, we talk about a biblical principle, and I'm a huge advocate of, like, don't just have the word, apply it to your life. And we talk about different ways and strategies and what that looks like in practical terms and putting the word into your life. So that's Roundtable Sunday. And next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we're going to have our online spiritual growth workshop. Do you remember what this one is?
The Sting of Heartbreak.
Oh, gosh. You know, it sounds terrible, but I'm so looking forward to that one.
Well, I mean, we all experience it. Ooh. So
and it is
a
the
good
sting.
Subject.
Like, it's a sting. It stings, man. It stings. It's like a taser. It
deep.
Stings hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. When heartbreak, man, just, you know, when you, and we all can relate to heartbreak, but just understanding, like, when you're dealing with somebody that's heartbroken, whether it's you or somebody else, your whole world or their whole world totally stops. It totally stops. You're complete in survival mode, shut down, paralyzed. You don't really think right. Your physical body really gets involved, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that that happens in the sting of heartbreak. So I'm really excited about that workshop. If you know anybody that's grieving, anybody that, because it can be romantic loss, it can be heartbreak of losing a loved one. There's so many ways to be heartbroken. Oh, yeah. Heartbroken over, you know, sometimes we go through changes in our life and we grieve, like losing a stage. Like just recently, I just started empty nest, and man, talk about the sting of heartbreak for that. It's hard when you're, you know, a lot of your identity comes from being a mom of children in your house, and it goes, I'm still a mom. I'll always be a mom. My husband will always be a dad, but transferring it to adult children, man, it's hard in a way, because I'm losing something while they're gaining something. And so it's like we're in different stages, and it's supposed to happen that way. And it's awesome. And we're so excited for our boys. But yeah, I mean, just there's a different rhythm in your home, and it's not bad. It's just different after so many years. Yeah. So it's something you definitely have to grieve. And so I just point that out to say there's a lot of ways the sting of heartbreak, how so many different things. We lost a couple years back, lost our dog Bruno. Yeah. This heartbreak. And I still hear my husband, like I still see heartbreak in him for he was especially close to Bruno. And I call him my little Brew. When I say little, he wasn't little, he was pretty big. But it's just, man, it's different.
Yeah, I knew a lady that lost her dog. I think it was 10 years later, and she was like, I just can't get another one. It was so painful. Yeah. And so I think too that, like, the sting of a dream, you know, dying or not working out, or the sting of you took a risk and it didn't quite pan out the way you wanted it to, or life took a different trajectory.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. So we will be discussing all things heartbreak and stinging heartbreak on not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And it's from noon to 3. And again, it's online through Zoom. And man, we just been having a great time online with these, because it's neat. You can do it from the comfort of your home, the comfort of your car. A lot of people, you can go on and live your life, but just log on and have community, have fellowship, and just be a part of everything.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. So, well, let's get into navigating difficult choices. There's a couple scriptures that I want to read here. And these are some that I really think about in times when I keep saying a lot tonight. Isn't that funny? You just hear yourself say certain words. Sorry about that.
I didn't even notice.
I did. No.
What do you mean by that?
I've been editing a couple videos, and it's so funny when you get into editing video mode, you just hear those words that you repeat excessively. And so that's probably why I'm still in that that editing mode where it's like, hey, let me not say this. So trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. Again, these are some scriptures that really are meaningful to me when I'm trying to navigate those difficult choices. Because, kind of like we pointed out already, you just, what's right? You know, there's so many, there's some things that are black and white. Should I commit adultery? No, it's pretty clear that that's not going to bring a lot into your life. But a lot of other things, they're just, you can't turn, Lord, should I take this new job? Lord, should I date this person? Lord, should I move? With even just the choice of moving, I've seen how.
Oh my gosh. It's like, where do I go? What do I do? Is this? And then even if you kind of start narrowing it down, you're like, okay. And then you think you're on to something, and then you're like, there's more choices. There's more choices.
Yeah. and choices. You can get stuck at any point. And the key thing I would say is you don't want to get stuck in navigating difficult choices. To understand when you've, like, that analysis paralysis, like when you've just gotten down 5,000 rabbit holes, because it's a way to avoid the tension of having to make that difficult choice.
Yeah.
So just kind of be thinking about these things. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks, say everyone. Man, everyone. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks it will be opened. That's one of my favorite scriptures. Matthew 7:7-8. Psalm 32:8 tells us, I will instruct you. I love this. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. I love that.
I know.
God, your eye is upon me. Like, I mean, it's just, you just go back and forth and you're like, should I do this? Should I not do this? And there's just some choices in life that feels so large, even if it can be, like you're saying, like moving. Maybe to somebody, moving is very, it's like a no-brainer. I know where I want to move. But when you really want to follow the Lord and his promptings and his leadings, and you can, it's just hard to know when you don't have a definitive clarifying vision, or you hear the audible voice of the Lord to say, do this or don't do that.
Right.
So it does. There's just a couple points. What I want to do is I want to talk about a couple points, and it's just talk about navigating those difficult choices. And then I have a couple fears, and I don't like just to leave you with the fears. So we're going to do a fear and an antidote to that fear, because my thing is just keep moving. Don't get stuck. You're not going to always get it right, but you're not going to always get it wrong either. And if you don't do anything, you will just remain stuck in it. Or there's some behaviors, kind of like we talked about. If you're an overthinker, at some point say, this date, whatever the last thing is, I'm going to make a choice.
Yeah.
because I don't know that you ever feel ready to finalize a difficult decision. When you find the place that you're going to move into, either you're going to have complete clarity or you're going to step out in faith and say, I don't feel a direction here or there. So Lord, in faith, I'm going to step out into this choice.
Right.
Because sometimes the only thing you can do is to say, Lord, I'm going to just do this. And if you don't want me to do this, or if this isn't your will, please intervene and say something and stop us. I think we don't know enough that God, he will honor your heart.
100%.
We're not people who are trying to get it wrong. We're trying to get it right. And he is a good father. And so understanding that when you're navigating those difficult choices, that you don't have to be perfect.
I know.
It's scary,
It's crazy.
though.
It is, because we want to.
We do.
And I think the fear in it, there's so much fear in it.
So many fears.
Yeah,
we
because
have some fears we're going to go over.
Yeah.
Man.
And if we didn't have that, it would be like, oh, okay, I'll just do this. I'll just do this. I'll just do this. Because we're afraid he's not going to like catch us if we make the wrong
choice.
decision.
Yes. And it's weird to me how some things, like, we said before, can feel so large. And then other decisions we could just make. There's been a couple decisions in my life where I just knew, like, boom, like, this is the direction to go and head. And afterwards, I'm like, wow, I didn't even hesitate. I didn't even, like, I should have, in your mind, you're like, probably would have been good if I'd have thought this through. But it was just the presence of the Lord and what his will was so strong that it was almost just seamlessly, effortlessly moving forward. And then there's other times where it's almost, I hate to say agonizing, but you're just searching for the peace of the Lord, and it's like, I don't know. And ultimately, again, you just have to step out in faith and say, Lord, this is what I believe you're asking me to do. And this is the direction I believe you're leading me. So I'm just going to jump.
Yeah.
And I think the more our relationship gets solidified with the Lord, that the more that trust we're able to develop, one, in ourselves, and then also additionally in him, that it's like you were talking about, we learn that he's not out to get us.
Right.
He's not trying to trick you. He's not trying to make it so difficult you can't find.
Right.
And he will put those breadcrumbs along the ways. I'd say one of the most important things with, say, people coming here and trying to make a decision is discerning, what is my agenda?
Yeah, I've done that a lot. I have kept saying, don't let me hold on to my picture, and don't let my picture stop me from what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Because I'll get so focused on that that I might miss something that he has for me that would be much better.
100%. And we do that. Like, okay, I guess we'll make your move the perfect example.
Yeah.
But you have an idea of where you want to live.
Yeah, what I want it to look like, or how I want it to feel, or
And what's been really neat is I've heard you say, like, okay, well, God, if that's not the area you want me to live in, then I'll live. You said I'll live wherever you want me to live.
Yeah.
And that's neat. That's an example of that, because you have a picture of, like where
this would
you
be
could
perfect.
Be, and it'd be amazing. And I could see myself there. And the truth is we don't know. You don't have a strong feeling about where to live.
No, I don't. I just know. I know it's the right time for the transition,
and that's about all the information you've gotten.
That's all I got. I just keep saying I have a green light till I have a red light.
That's right.
And I haven't gotten a red light yet, so we're just gonna keep going.
We keep going because that's what we do. That's how we roll.
That's
definitely
how we roll.
We're like, oh, there's another green light, another green light, no red light. So we just keep going.
Yeah.
And it is, but that's scary because you have a million questions.
Yes.
But
what about this? What about that? What about this? What
green
about
light,
that?
just keep going, keep going. And the weird thing I would say with navigating difficult choices is when you don't have that absolute yes or that absolute no, you really do have to trust that you hear the Lord. And in times like that, it really, you begin to see, wow, okay, how much do I trust you?
Oof. Right?
Do I trust you, Lord? Do I trust that I hear you? Do I trust that you speak to me? And I think that these are neat times when we have those choices, because it shows us the areas where we need to work on, and then the areas where it's like, wow, you know what, I think I'm stronger in this area. It can be it's all positive, but it can really be very revealing about my relationship with the Father, and do I really trust him? Because if you think about it, if we had total faith in him, then we'd never worry.
Yeah, I would just be like, okay, God, I'm just going to go until I feel like it's right, and you'll take care of it, and you'll handle it, and I'm just going to sit here and be still, but just kind of move along, you know?
But we don't do that. Nobody does. We don't do that.
I will say this, not to plug it too much, but I am very glad that I am doing the 63-day challenge in the midst of this, because it just kind of puts you in a place of
very good
connecting with the Lord, hearing from the Lord, talking to the Lord. Like even a video I heard the other day where he's like, you know, if you want to be close to the Lord, he's there. You come close.
Yeah.
You know, you make that choice. And so
you draw near.
Yeah. And just having that attitude of like, I don't hear from you, so okay, let me draw nearer. I don't hear from you, let me draw nearer. So it helps to
it really does.
Be
like
doing
you
that.
have to keep yourself fed.
Yes.
Spiritually fed during these
when
times.
you're going through a transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you go through, and it just reveals like what's inside of you, and hear me, not like in a negative way, but it's like it can be very positive. I think in my journey with him, more so now than ever before, I can see that my faith is stronger, my trust is stronger, and that can be a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I would say the same with you. I think, you know, with this move, like this, I've seen you, because you don't have a definitive, like, this is what you do. You go back and forth, but I've seen you just completely turn around and surrender it to him. Every time you get anxious, then you're like, I'll find it.
Yeah, it'll show up.
It'll work out.
He's faithful. I mean, he has proven his faithfulness to me so many times in my life that I'm like, it'll come together. Just not probably when I want it to.
Oh my gosh. And then that leads us back to talking about the agendas that we have. It's so funny because we have a picture of how things should look, how they should be, what we're going to do. And man, he just has a different way.
Oh, absolutely.
God be crazy. He's just crazy sometimes. And it seems like he has a sense of humor. Like, you think I'm going to do it that way, I'm going to do it this way.
That's right.
And it's just, I don't know. He's just an amazing God, and just forever revealing surprises about him, you know, just when you like, you can, our desire and our goal is to know God, but it's like, man, just when you think you can never put God in a box, just when you think you can have a little bit of understanding, he'll just surprise you. I'll be like, oh my gosh, God, you tricky monkey,
right? Little sneaker.
I know. It's amazing because he just has such a profound love for us and wanting to help us that I don't think we'll ever get used to how holy he is, how glorious he is, how just the mindset he has towards us, the love that he has towards us, how much he wants us to succeed, how much he wants us to feel and receive what he has for us. Like, it's just almost indescribable, his passion for us. So if you ever think that he doesn't want the best for you, just understand your thinking's wrong in that area. So let's go into a couple points before we get into the fears and antidotes. Is can you really make a wrong choice? I really don't think you can. I think that what we think is a wrong choice is just a learning curve. Like, we all have to have a learning curve. We all have to learn to make an intentional, what people would call a sinful choice is, usually that occurs when we're in deception, when we're blocking him out, when we don't want anything to do with him. That is a completely different feeling than just that learning curve or just that trying to figure it out. So I think we really have to know what we're in, what season we're in. If I'm just like, I know the right thing to do, like, and that would be like, I'm saying, like, having an affair. We know how, but even in that, there's a lot of deception, because you pretty much have to be in deception. But with what I'd call some of the majors, not that I think that that's any bigger than the other stuff, but some of the majors, it just takes more deception. So we don't really know. It's not like learning curve stuff, and it's very important to understand. Understand that with difficult choices, you're not going to be comfortable. Everybody is like, it's like, I want to wait till I can feel really good about this choice. It's probably not going to happen unless you just get a clear, concise direction, and he speaks to you like that with that choice. You're going to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to sign your lease on where you're going, or sign, which we don't even know. You're going to buy, you're going to lease.
Right.
We don't even know what you're going to do.
I know. He might have a curveball.
He totally. And so right now, like, it's just not going to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. You are someone who likes to know what's going to happen.
I like for things to be predictable and steady and pretty even. Mm-hmm. I don't really love change. I like to know what's coming, but that is not how God works. Honestly, if you really want to push yourself in faith and be like, okay, God, what do you want? It's usually not going to be something that you're like, oh yeah, I could have seen that. Oh yeah, I could have. But that's that's the goal, right? That's what we want, to live in his path. And you show me stuff I don't even know. I don't even know about myself. Don't let me put you in a box, and don't let me just do my plan. You might have something better. Yeah. So
it's crazy how you're just not, if your goal, and that's another thing to think about in your navigating difficult choices. What's your goal? If your goal is to feel good, not going to happen. Yeah, probably. If your goal is everybody be happy with you, not going to happen. If your goal is not to mess your life up, or you know what I mean, like feel like your life's not going to feel like crazy, not going to happen. So change is, it's painful, it's uncomfortable till it's not. And so watch out what your goal is in the situation. Another point that I'll say in navigating difficult choices is few choices are permanent. Sometimes we can get, one of the things we've talked about is, like, say, if you do sign a lease, usually a lease is a year.
Right.
So
it's not forever.
It's not forever. There are some choices that I would say are permanent. Like, that's one of the things I would say, like with suicide. Yeah. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But God, at the time, you just can't see beyond that. And so it's important to understand and not get that tunnel vision of permanency, that, oh my God, I'm always going to feel this way. It's never going to be any different. And that's just not true, because very few things in life are permanent. And so just understanding that, wow, if I don't make the choice, if it doesn't land where I thought it would land, it's okay. Yep. Because if you wait till it's like, okay, this is the perfect choice, like, you'll never make any choices.
No, because you'll always wonder, is there something better? Is there something different? With anything, with a job, with a getting married, with looking for somewhere to live, with anything, any transition. Yes. In life. Is there something better? Is there something better?
Absolutely. Another point that I want to talk about with difficult choices is most people really don't care as much as you think they do. Everybody, they just don't. You are the main character of your story, and other people are the main character of their stories. And sometimes some people will come along and want to kind of be the main character in our story, but they don't care as much as you think that they care. We all are like kind of self-centric for the most part. And that's not even like, we're not talking about narcissism or anything, but I got enough problems in my life that I'm not overly worried about the problems in other people's lives. Pray for you, don't want that, but understanding, when you understand boundaries, then you understand that you don't get as stressed out by other people's choices. So making a choice, this is another one. This is an important one. Not making a choice is making a choice. Sometimes people will think, well, I'm just not going to make a choice. Oh, you just made a choice because you made a choice to get what you get. Yeah. We have a joke around here where we're like, if you're like, I'm going to run out and get something, and I'm like, just get me whatever. And you're like, that feels very uncomfortable to you.
Yeah, because I'm like, what do you want? And you're like, you can pick.
Surprise me.
I'm like, what if I get it and you don't like it? And
then that's on me. That would not be on you. Yeah. Because I said, surprise me.
Right.
Yeah. And if I didn't want to be surprised, like, you know what I mean? In there, you're taking a gamble.
You are. And you made a choice.
I did. And so what's funny is you have to own your own choices. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But not making a choice is making a choice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some fear and antidotes. And we're going to talk more about this on the Zoom afterwards on the online healing meeting. And we'll do some more prayers and things like that, and some ministry time with this, because man, it is scary. You can't, I'm a firm believer in community, and you can't do things alone. And some of these fears, I have 4 fears that I'm going to kind of go over in an antidote for them. But it is by no means an exhaustive list whatsoever. So just to get your juices thinking, and just think about, like, how do I navigate difficult choices, and do I get stuck, and do I care too much about what people think, and am I sabotaging myself? Like, there's so many things to think about in this. So the first one I put down is, what if I make a mistake?
Yep.
That's
probably the number one.
I was going to say, that is one that we hear around here all the time. What if? What if? What if?
Yeah. What if you do make a mistake?
It's not, what we try to teach is resiliency. Because it's, even if you look through the Bible time and time again, it's not so much what people did, it's how they responded afterwards. So spoiler alert, you're going to make mistakes in your life.
Yep.
And the antidote, I'd say, for that is, do you know what I'm going to say for the antidote? Because that's something I always say around here. We always say,
oh, mistakes are how we learn.
That's right. Perfect.
I was like, what is she going to say? Mistakes are how we learn.
Mistakes are how we learn. You learn more by not getting it right, and then having to figure it out, than just stumble upon randomly the right answer, or an answer that works is a better way to say that, because you didn't really learn anything. You just stumbled upon the right way to do it, and you received no wisdom for it. You're like, oh, that worked, but you don't really know what worked about that. Whereas if you have to try a couple things, then mistakes are how you learn. And then you're like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. Oh, wow, that made some traction. And so if you're afraid to make a mistake, I really would take the antidote of understanding that mistakes are how we learn, and not be so afraid. It's not so much what happens, it's how we recover afterwards, how we're resilient about that. It's so funny because logically we can think of this kind of like, we use the example of inventions all the time. The light bulb wasn't invented in one pass. The telephone, all these kinds of things. Nothing happens typically in just one pass. But we get so mad at ourselves, and we expect everything to go right the first time, even though you know nothing about it. Nothing about it. For emotional things, for mental things, like it's like we we just think we're geniuses in every area and that we must have the right answer immediately.
Even though we've never done it one time before.
No experience, zero experience. And not only that, you're working from a negative mindset. And by negative, I mean you don't have all the information, or your blueprint is not working for you. But we're supposed to be complete geniuses and brilliant in all these areas. It doesn't work that way. Number 2, what if people get upset with me?
What will happen?
Oh, no. I don't think anybody's ever died from getting upset. I know people.
It can kind of feel that way, though. If somebody
can kind of feel that way.
If some people are upset with us.
But I want to say to you that a lot of times, we think we're Mother Teresa and we have so much care and concern for everybody around us. But what we're really upset about is our image. I don't want people to think I'm stupid. I don't want people to be mad at me. Like, you're not really that concerned. Not that you're unconcerned with how people will respond to your choices. But at the core of it, you're worried about you. Sorry. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
You're worried about you. And that it's not bad, because you have to live your life just like they have to live their life. So it's understanding that it's okay if people get upset about you. The antidote to that is, I would say, just understanding the people that truly care about you, independent of anything else, they're going to support you and your choices. They're going to be able to set their agendas aside and say, you do you, and whatever works best for you is what you need to do. And those are the true friends. If you've got a friend that's going to be upset with you for making a choice that really is the best choice for you, get a new friend. That's easier. Yeah. It just is. Number 3, what if I don't like the consequences of my choice? Ooh, that's another biggie, right? Yeah. We all want to play, well, what if I don't, what if this happens? We hear this all the time. Yeah. What if this happens and I don't like it? Well, that is a possibility. That's a possibility. People want you to say to them, oh no, that'll never happen, but that's not true. What if I marry this person and I end up not liking this person? Well, then the key is being, vetting that person. Like, there's always usually an answer that you're never going to know anything 100%, but you can set yourself up for success by kind of, around here we kind of say, press play on that. And let's look into the future, what that might look like. We're not fortune tellers. We can't tell. But you know what I mean? If this person is all, let's take it in the context of like a spouse you're thinking about marrying. If you're already fighting like cats and dogs and you don't agree on much, it doesn't take a genius to press play on that and be like, that's going to be a disaster. And so a lot of times when we're saying, what if I don't like the consequences of my choice? What we're saying is, I want different consequences. I see what's likely to happen, but I want it so bad. I want those not to be my consequences. And
we don't get to make that choice.
No, you really have to, because the antidote really is the mindset of, you have to take the whole choice. And there's just no way around that. There's something, you have to put on a scale and you have to weigh it out. If I take this new job is a little bit riskier. I don't, my skill set isn't a perfect match for it, but gosh, I really want to do this new job.
Right.
And then, do it. Well, what if I get fired? Well, security and risk.
Right.
Like, you can really assess where it falls on the scale for you. Like I said, I think that there are ways that you can be wise and do calculated wise risk. Like, if they're laying people off, probably not move unless you hear from the Lord. If it is a total, like, those are the skill sets you would need, or all of your weaknesses, unless God says move, probably not. If you're going to get married to somebody who you don't have a lot in common with, you just you just want them to love you, and it's more about your need for love, probably not a good idea. So just weighing that out and understanding, okay, I take accountability for all the good parts and then all the negative parts too. You don't get to say, I just want the good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not, you can put it on a scale, because another way to say that is, you're never going to find a spouse that you're 100% happy, that it fulfills every order. It just usually doesn't work that way. I shouldn't say never, because maybe that can be the case, but it's typically not. There's typically something that you're going to have to compromise on. And I don't mean like this is your deal breaker items. Don't ever compromise on a deal breaker item, because it's a deal breaker. But like I'll hear women say sometimes, well, I want a guy that's 6 foot. Girl, if he ticks all your boxes and he's 5'3", just do it. Like, it's so funny, the things that we'll say that we want.
Yeah.
And we have to understand what we know is a deal breaker. And the same things, with both sexes. Like, I want a good, godly Christian woman, but there's something about it that it doesn't feel 100% comfortable. Like, oh, I wanted a blonde and she's a brunette. No. You have to realize what's a deal breaker and what's not, and then you have to take the entire package. Yeah. And so that's number 3. Number 4, this is, I think, one that we all really struggle with. What if I disappoint God?
Oh, yeah, that's big.
Man, we have such an image of what he thinks about us, and it's almost like we think he doesn't want us to be happy. We think he doesn't want us to have any fun. Like, God is the ultimate fun sponge and he's going to take the fun out of everything. Man, God is a fun God, and God is a good God, and he wants you. He put your desires inside of you. He created you. He knows ultimately what will make you the most happy. And then we're like, oh Lord, please, just, you know me better than I know me. Bring it along. And he brings along, like, we'll do it in context of romance, and he brings you 5 women or 5 men that are amazing. And you're like, I don't know. Like trusting in that, where he's going to guide you, or just passing on something that you're like, oh, I'd really love to do this, but I think God wouldn't be happy about this. And that's really like a major form of sabotage, and then attaching God to sabotage, to that sabotage. It's crazy, isn't it? We hear that all the time, where it's like, I would love to do that, but God wouldn't let me. What? I'm pretty sure you have choice, and if he's put a desire in you for something, then that's something that I think has to be explored. But I think the antidote for what if I disappoint God is to realize, this is funny, you aren't that powerful to change God's character. God's character is that he's for you, he loves you, he supports you. And there's nothing that you're going to do that is so powerful and earth-shaking that will change his character and change his mindset towards you.
Right.
So a lot of it, and this is, and I don't say this and putting anybody down way, but get over yourself. Like, when we make difficult choices, we get that tunnel vision that we just become obsessed and just overthinking with, should I do this? Should I do this? Should it be pink? Should it be blue? Should it be green? We just get into the weeds so much that we forget the overlying principles that should guide us in things. That's why I'll say, a perfect example of that is when people select spouses. Yeah. Like, they'll be, well, I don't like the car he drives. How about, does he believe in Jesus? Like, how about that? But you want to fight over the car he drives, or the job that he has, or he didn't call you last night. You know what I mean? Well, if he didn't call you and he said he was going to call you, that's pretty important, because that goes to consistency. But we see it, don't we?
Yes.
It's like there's 100,000,000 reasons why you need to be upset about this situation, but the one that you're all fired up about just isn't one of them. And we get like that, though.
Yes, we do.
When we're navigating those difficult situations and difficult choices, because we are so much wanting to avoid making a choice.
Yes.
That we will get ridiculous.
Yeah.
With, well, what about this? Well, what about that? There becomes a point where you just have to shut up and recenter yourself and say, okay, what are the important markers in this? Like I said, we see it all the time with dating. You know, people date non-Christians.
Yep.
And I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying, if you're wanting a spouse that's going to be equally yoked to you, if you're wanting a spouse that is going to be able to speak into your life, and you have different values, that's just, where do you think that's going to land? Where do you think that that's going to end up? You know, if you're dating, if he's cheating on you or she's cheating on you when you're dating, how do you think that's going to end? And
not well.
We don't. So when you're navigating those difficult choices, we do have to take the whole picture in. And it's just because you're in fear, don't let fear control you. The fear of being unloved, the fear of not having enough, the scarcity, all these fears. There are antidotes to the fears, but sometimes we don't like the antidotes.
No. Sometimes we want to stay in the fear.
We do.
It helps to keep us to not have to make a choice and a decision, and
we don't have to be responsible.
And we don't have to worry about dealing with the consequences or
I know. And then the situation makes the choice for us, and then we're like, well, I didn't do this. I didn't cause this. Yes, you did, by not acting, by not making a choice.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'd say we're going to wrap this up because we're going to head on over to Zoom. Yay. And really bring your problems on over to Zoom, and we're going to talk about them. Think about things like, this is the ultimate antidote. Whatever the antidote is the ultimate antidote is just to surrender it to God. If you have gotten so confused about a decision that just feels so big in your life, there's only one way to do that, and that's to surrender it. Because I guarantee you, before you ever had the problem, before you were ever aware of the problem, He has already brought the solution. He has already created a path forward for you. You just have to get in alignment with it and understand. Sometimes you get a loud answer, and then sometimes you have an answer that's like, you know what? You got to step out in faith. Do the best that you can, and God will bless your path in that. Now, Tu's going to drop the link to the Zoom. Is she?
Do you have the link? Is it posted? She just asked me.
Okay, did you send it to her?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Is it on?
It is on. This is so awesome. Live is so fun.
I got it right here.
Okay, it's on the. If you can't find it, or if you can't find the comment on it, we have a post on our page, events for.
She has it. She's gonna drop it.
For. If you can't find it, if it's not on there, if you're looking for it, go to our Facebook page, and under the events for the week, it is posted. The Zoom link is posted. If you go to our website and you look under events and you see the event for the day, it is also posted there. And if nothing else, just contact somebody and they will get that for you. The ultimate antidote is what? Surrender. Man, surrender's so hard, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But we could do this. So come on over to Zoom for the healing meeting. Let's pray. Let's fellowship. Let's just do all the things together, right?
Yes.
So let's pray before we go. Dear Lord, we just humbly come before you. And as we come before you, Lord, I would just thank you, Lord, that you would help us navigate any difficult choice we have in our life. Lord, if there's anyone here that's feeling heavy about a choice they have to make, Lord, I just thank you that you can bring a joy to their heart and you can bring peace to their heart. Lord, I thank you for the wisdom that you pour out for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.